to your second period class. When you evacuate, you go to where your second period teachers are. Okay? And I'll remind you again when we start the process. You'll hear the bells going off. Let's Damien get back and Arturo get here. Oh, you already released a couple. Sorry. Morning, guys. How we doing? Looks like a little bit of a skeleton crew today. Is that brand new? I like that, dude. That's not? Is it called a Pennington? Is it? Those are expensive, right? Oh, I can see it right there. I like that, though. That's a cool color combo. I like that. How's everybody doing? Today's check-in. Ethan, you weren't here yesterday, dude. How you doing, man? Ms. Emerson? No, Alex. Not yet. He's been late a couple times this week. Do you want me to send him over when he gets here? Okay. You got it. Yeah. Arturo, good morning, dude. So, hey, guys, like I mentioned, I am doing my student teaching. I'm in school right now, trying to get my credential. I just want to let you know that we are recording today. So you guys just be yourselves. This is just so I can send my lecture in. The earbud is in just so we can pick up my voice a little bit. All right, so just want to give you guys a heads up. So today's check-in. Jacob, how you doing, bud? You are enamored with your new board, huh?
Yeah, I've been doing a few tricks like grinding, ollies.
Okay. I can see some marks on the trucks. I got you. Arturo, how you doing, bud? Yeah, what's new, man? What's new in the life? Nothing new? Yeah. Hey, man. I get it. What about you, Ethan? You been out? Feeling okay? Been sick or what's going on? Just haven't been here? All right. All right. Jacob, do me a favor, bud. Board in the back of the room for me. I don't want your feet on it doing tricks and cool stuff during class. All right, guys. Let's grab our seat. Arturo. Today, we're going to continue on our lecture on the French Revolution. Okay? So just some quick bullet points. As we've been kind of discussing, who was the king? Okay, King Louis XVI was the monarch. Okay, it was a monarchy in France prior to the Revolution. He was the boss. He was the sole chosen one. Remember, divine right, chosen by God. Okay, him and his lineage. The estate system. Okay, Jacob, can you elaborate on it for me a little bit? What's the shape like? Okay, you can use the picture on the board if you'd like. It's a triangle. Who's at the top? Let me stand in front of it. Clergy. Okay, who were the clergymen? Fancy word for what? The clergy was more specifically, so what you're talking about is the nobility. Okay, nobility were the landowners, they were the wealthy, they kind of had money. But above them, at the point of the triangle, they were wealthy, but they were specific to what's, let's say, industry. What vocation were they specifically? Okay, Alex, good morning, sir. Mrs. Emerson would like to see you. So go ahead and see her before you put your stuff down. There is a drill today, but not quite yet. I'll let you know. So, sorry, Jacob. Clergymen. Remember, big on religion in France, right? So who was the clergy? Because it went king, clergy, which is who, and then the rich people. They were the priests. They were the priests and the big time religious people. Okay, they're the ones that kind of ran the church. Right there, buddy. That looks great. Yep, she's in her office. Just go ahead and knock. Yes, sir. They're the priests. Okay, another word for the religious the people, the priests, is the clergy. Okay. Next was the nobility. That's more or less what you're talking about. So this is like, if this was the elite, That's the elite of the elite, right? And then you got the king, who's just his own world. All right, Ethan, I know you haven't been here for what? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Feeling better? Okay, all right. Were you here? What's today? Thursday. So you weren't here Monday. Darn it. Okay. Well, anyway, to catch you up on the estate system, this was basically the economy in France, right? It was shaped like a triangle. You had your clergymen at the top, the nobility were all the rich people, okay? And 98% of the population, all right, were the commoners, the peasants. They were the ones that paid the taxes, okay? So that's the estate system. Excuse me. What's going on in France? What happened prior to the revolution? Okay, a lot of money. Are they poor? Hurting for finances? Ben, what do you think? So remember, we're talking pre-revolution. We're just kind of recapping over the things we've gone over. Okay, so at one point there was a meeting called the General Assembly where they brought all the parties together. Why did they do that? What was the state of France? What was going on? Were they prosperous? Were they rich? Were they wealthy? Or were they poor? Were they hurting for food? They were poor. Do you remember why? They kept partying. Okay, even when what they loaned out a bunch of money to who? The American Revolution. So they poured all this money. Okay, that way they can fight the British. After that, the American colonies were still trying to find themselves. They couldn't give the money back, right? So France never got that money back. So they're already hurting for money. Okay, they kept partying. The nobility, the king, the clergyman kept living these lavish lifestyles. Okay, wore nice clothes, had all the food, loved their gatherings, like we talked about, right? Having a good time. All that's going on, and then what happened with the commoners? Okay, there was crops that weren't coming in. Why? We will watch the video in a minute. We're catching up though. Jacob, what was going on with the food supply?
It was going low because people were like, the people higher than the common people were like giving them dumb taxes. So every time they give away something, they get like less stuff.
Okay.
It makes them not pay taxes, and that makes the food go low.
So you're talking about the taxation. Okay, that's a great point. We'll touch on that in a second. But the food supply was low specifically because of what? What was going on with the weather? It wasn't growing. Okay, there was famine across the nation. All right, shortage of water. Okay, hot summers, terrible winters. Okay, crops weren't coming in for a couple of seasons in a row. So that's the state of France. Okay, now to your point, Jacob, clergymen and nobility were like, hey, we only have half a ton of food instead of a whole ton of food. What's going on here? Okay, we need to recoup some of those finances that we gave to America. So what did they do? How'd they do that, Jacob? How'd they recoup their money?
They made up these dumb taxes to the common people because they're like the lowest of the entire city.
Okay, so we said the clergy made up about 1% of the population, nobility was another percent, and the commoners were the third estate, right, was 98% of the population. But who paid 100% of the taxes? Okay, the common. They paid 100% of the taxes because they weren't having it. They were just taking money. They were accepting it, right? Having a good time. So what's going on with the people, Damien? All this stuff's going on, right? They're getting taxed. They're starving. They're not having a good time, okay? What happens now? What starts to grow across the nation? How would you feel if you were a commoner? You're starving. Your kids are starving. You ain't got no money. Nobility's coming and taxing you every other day. You grab a side hustle? Is that what you would do? There's no side hustles to be had, dude. There's nothing going on. There's just no work. All you're doing is working your land and giving all the food and all your revenue to the nobility and the clergy. So you're not happy, right? My point being, you're not happy. Okay, so what happens? Now we're starting to get into the revolutionary part, right? That's when they create that meeting, right? They bring all the estates together, all right? And what happens? There's 3 votes, right? How many votes did the clergyman get? Okay. Let's just say they got 1, right? Nobility, 1%. How many did they get? Okay? The common people, 98% of the population. How many votes do they get? All these got equal amounts of votes. Okay? And the common people said, hey, we need to do something different. This ain't working. Okay? How are the clergy and nobility going to vote? They outvoted 2-1. Now let's just keep it the same. We're going to tax you guys more. Okay? Jacob, what happened at that point? Okay, they disbanded. They said, you know what? We're going to break off. We're not going to listen to the king anymore. This ain't fair. We're going to go do our own thing. Okay? Do you remember the tennis court oath? Anybody? Tennis court oath? What happens when they disbanded? They said, you know what? We're 98%. We're more than you guys. We're going to go hold our own meeting, and we're going to create our own constitution, so to speak, right? King Louis XVI said, no, you're not. We're going to lock up the doors. You can't meet. You can't meet in our city. They went and they found this indoor tennis court, right? Just a random building that was open. And they all took an oath and said, you know what? We're not leaving this room until we come up with a new and fair constitution because we need to change. Okay, so that's where we're at. And that's called the tennis court oath. All right. Bastille Day. Okay, we touched on this a little bit. We're going to consider this the start of the revolution. Okay, so National Assembly is created. They're trying to form their own governments. Okay, but things still aren't getting better because they don't know. There's no big leader in the group. They don't know what to do and how to do it. They disagree on how to form the new government. Okay, so what's the next step? Well, we're going to watch a quick video here, which is the storming of the Bastille. Okay, and do you guys remember what the Bastille is? Jacob, big building, middle of Paris. Jamie, do you remember what the Bastille was? Ben, help me out. Somebody? The Bastille, huge prison in the middle of Paris. And to the commoners, it represented the tyranny of King Louis XVI. Big, shiny building. They believed, based on rumors that were spreading around, that prisoners were being held there. All right. They were being treated unfairly. And they were going to go in, they were going to free the prisoners. They were going to free their commoners, their people. Okay, but there was also what stored there? Jacob, do you remember? What else was in the Bastille? Not bread, not grain, not food, but something else they needed for their revolution. They were trying to break out the prisoners, yes. What do you think, Ethan? I know you haven't been here, but take a guess. If you're starting a revolution, you need these to fight. You need weapons. You need gunpowder. And that was a huge storage area. Okay? Yeah, yeah. They needed the gunpowder. That was the big thing. So here's a quick Edpuzzle video. It's got a couple pauses that we'll stop and talk about.
The American Revolution had a profound impact in Europe. The time for liberty was at hand, but the path to winning it would be brutal and bloody. Louis XVI of France had spent a fortune to help the Americans defeat the British.
Why was the French government bankrupt? Okay, we just kind of highlighted this. They helped finance the Americans against the British. The king and queen spent extravagantly. Okay, they purchased nice things. They donated money to Great Britain to fight the Americans. The first and second estates were too poor and couldn't pay taxes. So what do you guys think? First one. All right. So a big part of those finances went to the Americans, right, to fight the British, the American Revolution. And the upper classes just wouldn't stop spending. They just kept partying.
Now his country was almost bankrupt. The nobility and the church refused to pay taxes to bail the country out.
Question 2, true or false? The first and second estate refused to pay taxes to help out the king. True. Upper two states would not pay taxes. That was for the commoners to do.
Louis tried squeezing more money out of the middle class and the poor, but they'd already had enough. In the summer of 1789, a simmering hunger exploded into the streets of Paris.
So this is now starting to boil over. They've had enough, and they're just upset. We're going to do something about it.
The professional classes sided with the working poor. On July 14th, a long march for the hated symbol of order, Bastille, and prison.
What took place on July 14th? Meeting of the Estates General. Okay, that's when they all got together. That was just before the National Assembly was created. The election of the first French president, storming the Bastille, or the Women's March on Versailles. Third one, storming of the Bastille. Why did the peasants storm the Bastille? To take over the prison, to find weapons, and it was a symbol of power of the king, or to seize the grain stored there. Second one, yeah, we said there was no food there. Symbol of the king's power, and they were trying to get ammunitions or munitions.
They celebrated their victory by cooking off the prison warden's head in the kitchen. The rebels now declared they were forming a new representative government.
Did you guys catch that?
The rebels now declared they were forming a new representative government.
I'm not going to get it, but you guys saw the stake with the head on it, right? Okay, we were talking about that yesterday. Things started getting violent, right? What type of government did France create? A military dictatorship, an absolute monarchy, an anarchy, or a representative government? Do we know what a representative government is? It's a form of government in which the different portions of citizens have representation. So what do you guys think? Ethan, what do you think? Remember, they were a monarchy, right? That was the king. Okay? Did military take over? No. Anarchy is kind of like no government or representative government. Damien, help me out. What do you think? What were they trying to establish? Did they want representation? Okay, so that's the king. That's what France was, right? Do you think they got rid of it and went back to it? What did they want? What do the commoners want? They wanted representation, right? They just wanted to say, they wanted to be able to vote. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they wanted representation. They wanted a seat at the table, per se. Good job.
Over the next 4 years, they stripped away the king's powers and ordered him not to leave Paris.
So now the king's a prisoner.
Of the Catholic Church and the nobility. They summed up their vision of a new France in 3 words: liberty, equality, fraternity.
Okay, so storming the Bastille. What happened shortly after? What did they do with the king? Okay, they told me we couldn't leave. Like, hey, dog, you got to stay still, man. You're not leaving. We got to figure out what the next step is for our country. But we're not happy with the way you were treating us. You're not quite off the hook yet. Okay, so until we figure that out, don't leave, right? So we're going to shift gears there. Anybody have any questions so far on where we are in the French Revolution? Okay, so we understand what France was like. We understand the government system that was in place, the injustices that were going on, the meeting of the Estates General, okay? And then the commoners created the National Assembly. They kind of branched off and decided we're going to do our own thing. And that led to the storming of the Bastille, all right? That leeways us into what I consider the cool part of this whole thing. And again, we talked about this. If you're easily grossed out by blood or anything like that, you're free to step out and not watch this. But introducing what new tool or new weapon or the guillotine. Okay, so there are some scenes where they show the guillotine. Well, there's a lot of scenes actually, and flake blood. It doesn't look real, but again, if you're squeamish, let me know. You don't have to watch this. All right. I'm sorry, Jacob. They did both, but once the guillotine got popular, it was popular, and you'll see. This video represents it.
Star orators of the convention realized that they must boldly strike out to save the revolution. They convinced their colleagues to institute a menacing new form of martial law. It is time for all Frenchmen to enjoy sacred equality. It is time to impose this equality by single acts of justice upon traitors and conspirators. Make terror the order of the day. Thus begins a new chapter in the revolution, a period of violent repression called the Terror. In a remarkable reversal, the revolutionaries suspend the new constitution and all the rights it was to guarantee.
Okay. What gets suspended during the terror? Okay, so this is known as the Reign of Terror. Okay, this is what ensues after the storming of the Bastille. It's also known as the Terror. Okay, they kind of shorten it up. What gets suspended during the terror? Production of food and clothing for the citizens of France to support the French army in battle. The Declaration of Rights of Man and all the rights it guaranteed. The French army and the training facilities in order to focus on creating a new lasting constitution. What's that? What do you mean? I'm sorry, but I can't hear you.
Is this the first thing?
Yes. Yes. The first question, you mean? Yes. Okay, so National Assembly, again, they branched off and they created this constitution, if you will, right? But they were still struggling to kind of get their ideals in place. There's still a lot of disagreements. Okay, that's when the terror started. So during the terror, they suspended their Declaration of the Rights of Man and all the rights are guaranteed. Why is that? Okay, why did they suspend? Okay, the Declaration of the Rights of Man was try to ensure equality for everybody, right? But during the terror, they said, you know what, we're going to kind of suspend this, and we're going to go with more of a guillotine style. Does that make sense? They wanted to instill fear in the upper estates.
Scattered throughout the country. Anyone suspected of counter-revolutionary activity was rounded up, quickly tried, and sent to the National Razor.
The National Razor.
Terror was conceived as an emergency government. What they understood by terror is striking terror into the hearts of the enemies of the Republic, so that they would be either scared straight, as it were, or arrested and disposed of.
So, who was being arrested and killed during the terror? The riches and nobles? What about anyone suspected of being an enemy of the revolution? Yeah, right? How about the clergy and anyone affiliated with the Catholic Church? No? Okay. Anyone suspected of being an enemy of the revolution, all right? They didn't automatically go after the nobles. They did, but they targeted people that opposed their belief system. Does that make sense? Because if you oppose our belief system, then that must mean you want to keep us down in that third estate, and we're not having that.
The slightest suspicion can send anyone to the scaffold. Politicians who say a kind word of the defunct monarchy. Anyone who uses the formal monsieur or madame instead of the new form of address. citizen. The air is fraught with paranoia. Neighbors denounce neighbors. The incessant rolling of the death carts rattles through the streets of Paris.
Execution is absolutely hanging over people's heads in the sense that we know in Paris there are police spies, and there are quite a few police spies everywhere, standing in bread lines, listening to what the women are saying, and turning them in if they don't like what they hear.
Okay, so what's a death cart? Good answer, but no, not quite. It's kind of the opposite. Okay, Jacob?
I'm pretty sure what the woman narrator was saying is that the people they just talk to women like they just talk to them, but if they like refuse, they turn them in.
Those are the undercover people. We'll get to that next. Okay, actually, I'll replay it. The death carts. Ethan, did you want to have something to say on that? So the guillotine was such a hit with the people that this turned into something. The beheadings is something they would do out in the public square, and people would get excited and cheer them on. Like, yeah, right. They go nuts about it. The death carts, they would parade the people they're about to behead. They would parade them around the city on their way to the guillotine, and people would literally line up. Okay, throw things at them, be excited, cheering, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's what was going on. Come back.
Execution is absolutely hanging over people's heads in the sense that we know
See how
in
they're
Paris
kind
there
of
are police spies,
on their way to it?
and there are quite a few police spies everywhere, standing in bread lines.
What's that?
Are they like tied up in there?
I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were. They don't want them jumping out and trying to run.
I've seen this in a geography last year in middle school that people throw stuff at them while they're heading their way to the guillotine.
Yep, they throw their rotten veggies and different items out of we'll call it excitement, right? That's kind of crazy, right?
So basically, they're cheering in a bad way.
I would say they're cheering for maybe something that's not the most positive of actions, right? Police spies. So Ethan, to your point, now think of it this way: they are now headhunting. Literally, they're headhunting. They're looking for people that are opposing the revolution, and they're just taking them to the guillotine, right? Now the police spies, okay, the people in charge are saying they're hiring people. So Damien, you're talking about if I was poor and they're taking all my money, I'd get a side hustle, right? So you're hurting for food. Someone comes up to you and says, hey, I need you to go around and just listen to people and turn them in. If you hear them say like, this is dumb, we don't like the revolution, we miss the king, come back and let me know. I'll go get them, behead them, and I'll give you a few bucks. I'll give you some food to feed your kids. There's a reward involved. Okay. So again, you're starving, your family's not eating, you don't have any money. Someone comes up and gives you this opportunity. What do? Not only do you go out and try to find those people that are against the revolution, but do you think some people were lying? Yeah. Like I didn't hear nothing, but hey, I heard Johnny saying like, he misses the king. Pay me, right? So that's what's going on here.
Listening to what the women are saying and turning them in if they don't like what they hear. You could be turned in not just complaining about the high price of bread, but you could be turned in supposedly even for not being enthusiastic enough about where things were going and the successes of the revolution. So just about anything that would stand out for commentary could get you into trouble.
So that kind of parlays what I was talking about earlier, right? So again, they're taking these death carts around the city. People are throwing veggies at them. They're throwing different items to show their enthusiasm. Even if you didn't like it, if you didn't agree with it, do you guys think you had a choice whether or not to be there? You had to be there. If someone was cruising by in the death cart and someone saw you at home not paying attention to it, like you really didn't care, they'd turn you in. And you're next in the death cart. You're next on the guillotine just because you're not emphatic about what is going on, okay, with the movement. Stepping away from this for a quick moment, let's try to take this whole undercover turning people in process. Has it been relevant in recent years? Okay, is there anything you guys can think of where people were kind of asked to turn each other in, maybe a little bit. What? Okay, Mr. McGuire, maybe you can corroborate this a little bit, but during COVID-19, everyone was kind of had different belief systems, right? Some people thought you should quarantine. Some people thought you should wear masks. And others were like, I don't want to wear masks. I don't think it works. We came back from COVID-19. You guys went back to school. We came back as teachers. Okay. Was there a little bit of like, were you guys looking around like, hey, who's coughing? Who's not wearing a mask? Who's not vaccinated? Did you guys get any of that? No? No, not really? I know as professionals, there was a lot of stringent things that we had to go through and information that we had to provide, but there was a lot of like encouragement to make sure you're vaccinated. If you're not, speak up. Who's not vaccinated? And sort of a willingness to kind of tell on your partners, right? Is that fair to say, Mr. McGuire? I mean,
there was some of that. You'd hear people talk about, in other locations, like if they didn't follow what the leadership was telling, then you're, looked at downly, poorly, so people would try to hide it, and then, some people would tattle, to kind of get themselves. There are times that you might even done this with little kids. Like sometimes you point out how someone's done something wrong to make yourself look better, right? And so what Coach is talking about here with, going down with the guillotine and stuff, a lot of times, you have neighbors who maybe didn't get along very well, right? Maybe you didn't like that they planted some of their grain on my property, and so you've always had this little feud. And so you can go in and say, hey, he's loyal to the king, and it's a way for you to get rid of some of your your rivals.
So a lot of that stuff's going on, right? What's that?
The French Revolution.
Yes. When was it posted?
17 minutes.
Okay. That's the first one we watched.
What?
Let me get back to you. Let me get back to you. Okay. Yeah, that's stuff that we've been doing. All right. So anyway, like Mr. McGuire kind of corroborated, the guillotine caused all kinds of excitement. Even those that weren't excited about it were sort of forced to be excited about it because that was the movement. All right. And there was all kinds of false reporting along with true reporting, right? But they were just sending people to the guillotine like crazy. Okay. So back to this. Why is the time period refers to as the terror? Do you think people were afraid of invading armies? Do you think spies were everywhere and you could be reported for just about anything? Or any interaction with people could lead to disease and sickness? What are we talking about specifically? Okay. Spies were everywhere and you could be reported for just about anything. And then you were rounded up and executed. You guys agree? Even if what? No, of course not. But like Mr. McGuire said, like if me and you or you and I didn't like each other, right? Maybe we just didn't like each other. You bumped into me one day 10 years ago, and we've always kind of been like, I don't like that guy. Well, guess what? Hey, you're giving out money? You're passing out bread? Hey, Jacob loves the king. Just saying. No big deal. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so there was real reporting, but there was also a lot of false reporting, right? Because again, they're giving out rewards for it. I have an obligation to feed my family. I don't like you anyway. No, not quite yet. Not quite yet.
The convention sets up a revolutionary tribunal, expediting trials and executions with ruthless efficiency. To consolidate power, they form a 12-man council and call it the Committee of Public Safety.
Ultimately, power had to be delegated to a small.
Okay, public safety. What's public safety today? You guys see them kind of cruising around. What's their job? It's in the name, right? Public safety, keep the public safe. Where do you guys see them most commonly? Do you guys see public safety? I always see them doing like the crosswalks. When the light goes out, they'll park in the intersection. They'll do this, right?
I see cops patrolling.
Okay, so same thing. Police officers are a form of public safety, right? But we do have public safety that's kind of its own unit. What did they do? What was their public safety? What were they in charge of? The guillotine. Okay, so it's kind of a contrast in ideals, right, from today and back then. But they were the ones that administered justice, so to speak. They were the tribunal, and they had quick trials. Like, Ethan, why are you here? Someone says that I love the king, but I don't love the king. Ah, you're lying. Guilty. Cut his head off. And that was it. Like, it was effective. It was efficient. They were knocking these out like no tomorrow.
Became the Committee of Public Safety. Ultimately became 12 people who really ruled France as kind of collective dictatorship.
Who ruled France in a collective dictatorship during the Terror? They were called the Committee of Public Safety, King Louis XVI, or the National Assembly. Public safety. We're almost done here, guys. Great job. Stay tuned in for a couple more minutes.
Revolutionary vision. Robespierre soon emerges as the committee's fiercest guiding force.
Maximilien Robespierre, significant figure in the revolution.
For more blood.
One of the paradoxes in Robespierre's political life is that he very early on.
Who became the voice for the Committee of Public Safety? Robespierre. Okay. I don't know. Does it say his name below it? That's him.
He looks like
That's him.
a slightly younger version of someone else.
So remember, okay, we're going to end right there, guys. Sorry, I know it's a little bit longer video today than usual. We're in the middle of the Terror, okay? The Terror began because the National Assembly, right, the branch off from the government, the commoners, could not come up with a system that worked. Robespierre emerged as someone of a leader to lead the group, okay? And he's kind of the one that forged this path with the guillotine. Does that make sense? So they were trying to instill terror in the upper estates. But what ended up happening? Who actually lived in terror? Everybody did, right? Because you couldn't say anything, you couldn't do anything. You had to be involved. You had to actively throw your old tomatoes when the death cart rolled by. You had to cheer when they cut someone's head off. He was the one in charge of this movement, the Reign of Terror, or the Terror. Does that make sense? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, you guys are off the hook. Okay. A few more minutes left to class. Here's just a vocabulary list. Okay. Crisscross puzzle for you guys to work on. I'll put the vocab on the board. I do like that shirt, man. I mean that. What is that? Oh yeah, that was like that was their sidearm. Anybody who was in the military or anyone, who was doing any fighting, that was like their side piece right there. They always had one of those on them. Yep. Okay, we good on the estate system. Can I erase this? We understand it was a triangle. Okay, clergy at the top, nobility. Here's your vocab word bank, guys. Ethan, can you turn that off, please, sir? Thank you. Sorry, I'm almost done here, guys. You guys can, if you can see those, get to work on the first few. No, you didn't. No way. No way. No way. Don't believe you. All right, there's your word bank. And because I'm awesome, I'm going to write the letter count next to it. Is that helpful for you guys? Adeline's going to be so upset. This is her favorite puzzle. Although today she probably would have been upset that we did this one.
Iran is a passionate opponent of the death penalty. And of course, this is thrown.
So at worst, if you're not able to finish, make sure you have these written down on the paper, okay, as you're trying to search for them. And we have about, what, 10 more minutes, Mr. McGuire? Ish? Okay. I know a couple of us were late. Today we have, sorry, is it an earthquake drill?
Earthquake and evacuation drill.
Yeah. So you guys, once we dismiss, I'll give instructions one more time on your way out. But we'll, in an orderly fashion, head out to the designated area that you guys are familiar with out on the blacktop. But you guys will report to your second period teachers. Okay, so in the event of an emergency where we need to evacuate, excuse me, once you can safely do so, we always get to the blacktop out there by the tennis courts, and you guys will always report to your second period teacher. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns on any of the vocab words or anything we went over today? Is anything unclear? Damien, is anything interesting that we gone over? No? French Revolution, just ate your thing? All right. All right. Appreciate the honesty. Ethan, anything interesting? Nothing stands out. Even the guillotine? Come on, dude. You're a Halloween guy. You're not even interested in the guillotine, huh? Okay. Yeah, tough crowd today. Tough crowd. It must almost be Friday. It is what?
Friday's tomorrow. You just said it feels like you said something.
So it feels like it's almost Friday. Like we're kind of already in weekend mode.
Friday's tomorrow.
Like we should. I know.
Short work for in a few hours.
That's it. That's it. Today is Friday Eve. It's going to cool down again this weekend. So tomorrow we're going to finish up our section, Ethan. We're going to finish up our section on the Reign of Terror. Okay, we're going to kind of go over one more time what led up to the French Revolution, and then dive a little deeper, okay, into who Maximilien Robespierre and his role in the Terror was, and introduce the next French ruler. Who do you think? Who ruled France next?
Queen Elizabeth I.
No. Ben, who do you think? Little general. Made himself emperor. Who rules France next, do you think, at the end of the Terror? No. Anybody? No guesses? We mentioned his name a couple times earlier this week. Napoleon Bonaparte. He kind of takes a little control and just kind of runs with it. Next thing you know, he crowns himself emperor, and they're back where they began. One person in charge.
Actually, there's only one. Actually, I do have something that I do find interesting.
Awesome. What is it, bud?
Muskets.
Muskets?
Actually, I use that as a loophole.
In what way?
So basically,
Thank you, brother. Good job, David.
I thought muskets are allowed considering I am taking history.
Muskets are not allowed, no.
No, but the
But what?
So I use the musket as a loophole.
Gotcha.
So basically, if someone was saying why you have so many pictures of muskets, I'd say I have history class of the revolution.
Oh, pictures of muskets.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know you like your artillery.
Yes. I'm very much of a artillery person. But considering every single time, well, it feels like a year already, every single time the army changes its weapon, so then I have to go to that gun to figure out how to clean and reassemble it. Because I have to clean a gun. And it's not
Well, let's just keep in mind the world we live in, and we got to tread lightly when talking about stuff like that, right?
I cut it with my ring finger.
Jacob, how you doing?
Ice cream roll.
Knock him out. Ben, you done? Let's go, dude. Use your left hand. Come on, man. This is easy points. Easy way to get the vocab done. Damn, you're done. All right, everybody that gets it done can leave early tomorrow. How about that? Oh, look! Oh, we got right to work. That was like double time. Damien's like, well, if you already turned it in, though, it doesn't count. Man, we got real busy real quick. You guys are funny. Remember, guys, Jacob, for all future work, please put your first and last name. Including last name, absolutely. I might let the other Jacob leave early tomorrow instead. No way. Oh, I get you.
Wait,
What?
there's 10 eights.
There's 10 eighths?
There's
I see 4 eighths.
4 tens. There's 4 tens.
Well, it's not supposed to be super simple. Start with the automatics.
I really want to be really specific with him, but I won't.
At this rate, I'm going to let you go like 5 minutes late tomorrow.
Well, I had surgery done. Surprisingly not.
Well, I hope not. God, I'm glad you're okay. What can I help you with? Here, I'll give you a freebie. Which one?
Wait, when do we go to school? It's like 7 hours long.
More or less, yeah.
Wait.
What's that? 10? It was the popular new invention that people went crazy for during the Terror. If you have questions, I'll give you hints. Let me know.
Green grass.
What number? What number, Ethan? I just gave Ben 10. Are you listening? 10, that popular new invention that the people went crazy for. They absolutely lost their heads over throughout the terror.
Oh, that's why you put it so many times.
Number 3 down. It was raining this. It was the reign of. It wasn't the rain of rainbows, for sure. Jacob, I can see the bottom of your seat. And it's like offending me right now. Oh, I feel much better. Now I can't see it anymore. Thank you, sir. You're the man. You're the man. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna hang out with our friends after this. Okay, we're gonna do the drill.
Revolution during Washington's time? Actually, no. Revolution. Actually, no. I'm pretty sure. No, it's like after he died. Actually, the French Revolution.
We're gonna save that for when we get there.
It was actually like.
Ethan, you have like 12 more, dude. Knock them out.
Alright, here's something funny. This is what you call the modern day George
I
Washington.
just gave you this one too. It was the reign of what? It may or may not be the only 6-letter word up there. Let's see. I see 1-6. I see 1-11. I see 1-7. You should be able to knock all those out. There's 1-3. Now you got to worry about is the 8s and the 10s.
Oh, look, I got that right.
Number 9, if I can find it. The French government was based on this structure. There was 3 of them. No, it's number 9. Number 9. There was 3 of these. The third one made up 98% of the population. Arturo, done. Did you finish? I miss, man, motivated by leaving early. I thought you guys like spending time with me. No, you can't copy it. Sure you can. 21 or 26. All right, guys, we are out of time for today. Go ahead and turn what you got in.
Remember, Ethan, that you go to whoever your second period teacher is.